Well, welcome to yet another webinar from Fortra, formerly Help Systems. As you may or may not know, we had a name change from Help Systems after 40 years back in November of 2022. It was simply a name change, and if you have questions about that, certainly put a note into the chat or the Q&A, and I'll handle that and talk to you about the why behind that. But we're excited to be with you today to discover easy and affordable high availability, talking primarily about our software replication or logical replication product called Robot HA. We will record this webinar. There are handouts for this webinar, and certainly you'll be able to play it back at a later point in time. And if you have any questions, feel free to send them into the Q&A. A fairly short webinar. We're only going to be with you for about a half an hour. Carlos, who are you and what do you do for Fortra?
Yes, I am solutions engineer here in EMEA in Europe. I have, I think this year, 31 or 32 years experience before I start working with my IBM, no, ACE 400 system, sorry, not IBM.
Yeah.
And yes, I am solutions engineer helping customers to provide our solutions and to offer the best solutions and best practices with our software solutions for the IBM platform, yes.
Oh, well, welcome, Carlos. We look forward to you sharing your expertise. And then I'm Tom Huntington. I'm our EVP of Technical Solutions at Fortra and been a longtime employee. I'll be actually 35 years coming up here in June, along with the IBM 35th anniversary, if you don't know about that. 35 years. Yeah, thank you. And IBM too. Or the AS400 is 35 years old, depending upon how you want to look at it. It is IBM, of course. And then I'm also an IBM Power Champion. So with that said, I think we're going to turn off our mics and get not our mics, our videos, and move forward here. So our agenda today is we'll talk a little bit about what Robot HA is, why we are comfortable saying it's affordable, and what really makes us easy to use, along with a quick demo to kind of demonstrate that ease of usage. We do have a polling question or two. So our first polling question is, why are you here today? Let me launch that, and hopefully you can answer it. You can select all that apply. You might have a vendor today that you're working with that's too expensive. You have a current vendor support is lacking on that product. We certainly hear about those issues. We don't have an HA solution. Well, believe it or not, we do the annual marketplace survey, and there are people that do not have what I would consider a data replication, storage replication type solution in place. Your solution is hard to manage, and so you're looking for something easier. You're the person responsible for backup and disaster recovery, and so you like attending all these events to keep up to date on what's going on in the market. So we'll give you a few more minutes here, or a few more seconds to answer this first polling question. All right, and it looks like the clear winner here is 100% of you said you're responsible for backups and disaster recovery. So that is the main reason you are here. Okay, I get it. That makes sense. Let's stay up to date on what technologies are going on in the marketplace. Well, you have choices today. So we thank you for joining us and hearing about Robot HA, but you do have choices today. You have Power HA, which is hardware-based replication with multiple flavors of it, with Metro Mirror, Global Mirror. You even have full system replication. You have live partition mobility, which is a form of high availability, a hardware replication versus logical replication. We're going to be talking today really about logical replication, and a lot of people refer to it as data replication, backups, DR versus HA. All those things are kind of used interchangeably. For us, it's about building a sound backup strategy for your data in case there's a disaster, right? So that you can get to that data and you have a process in place that's automated to access that data. So a lot of times when you talk high availability and disaster recovery, you're also talking backup. So it's a combination of the two, and you're looking at handling what your recovery time objective is and your recovery point objectives are when it comes to meeting the business needs if there is a disaster. So with technology like Robot HA, we're really looking to help you do backups, for instance, on your target system versus your production system, simplifying that and reducing your downtime because of backups. But then we also want to give you an RTO that's less than an hour, more like 15 minutes, 5 minutes in some cases, so that when you do a role swap, you can run your business over on the target server, and your data that's been sent over there, the RPO of it is within basically nanoseconds. So it's all up to date on that target system. So Robot HA is a product that the Help Systems, now Fortra company, has been representing for 7 years now in the market. This is a logical replication product, or really underneath the covers, it's using local journaling and remote journaling for a bulk of the activity of keeping data in sync from one server to another, or from one VM to another, or one partition to another, depending on how you refer to it. And underneath the covers, it does saves of objects that are not journaled and sends those objects from one system to another to keep those current also. We also are going to be helping you with role swaps. We have a self-monitoring feature, a self-healing feature, where we will look at the library, see if anything's new, send it over to the target using save change object APIs. I think you'll see it's an easy product to administer. It is technology that's based on proven technology. Logical replication or local and remote journaling have been around for many years. Local journaling was introduced even way back on the System 38. I used it myself back then. And then remote journaling is probably about 2.5 decades old on the I-series IBM I environments. So this gives you business continuity, high availability. We can integrate with Power HA if you're using that technology. That's a whole nother discussion. We also have people that use us to help migrate to the cloud. They use us to replicate from on-premise to the cloud or from cloud to cloud. We have some people that use us for BI, business intelligence, where they'll replicate data from one partition to another for BI purposes and do all the reporting over there. System maintenance, system migration, those are all the things that Robot HA can be done for. If you don't know journaling and remote journaling on IBM I, then this diagram should pay attention. A lot of people don't realize that there are only certain types of objects that are truly journaled on IBM I, and those are physical files, data queues, data areas, and IFS. They're journaled real time. As data changes, it hits your journal, it's sent to the target. Robot HA runs on the target and applies those data changes. The other thing that we do is periodically, in interval basis that you choose, we will look at your libraries for any changed objects that are not journaled. And we'll save those and use TCP/IP under the covers to send those save files and restore those objects to the target. We're a little different in that regards to some of the other products. Some of the other products out there use the Q audit journal to get object changes. We do not. We do use it, however, for authorities, user profiles, spool files, and a few other items that are changing on the system. So we periodically read it for that information. Anyways, the rules are user defined. So you define the rules, or our services team helps you define the rules. And they can be IFS and library objects in SysSpace. So with logical replication, you have basically all instances active. Both systems are active. So I actually recommend people do their backups on the backup system. Why have downtime on production when you're using replication software? Now, the other thing we do is we do full role swaps. One of our findings when we first got involved in this market was that from what was the Vision HA report back in the day, only about 10% of the market was actually doing full roll swaps that actually own this technology. And so we've been very adamant about getting customers to go from never doing roll swaps to full roll swaps. And that's what we want to be able to support. So with that, one of the stepping points is a test while active roll swap. So what we want to do here is get you ready to do a full roll swap by doing the first thing that we do with services is we leave production running, we queue up all the changes as they're coming, but we get you into a test while active roll swap where you can test out that the data and everything that you want in sync for running your business is in place with our test while active roll swap. As a matter of fact, I was helping a customer yesterday with one of those. So as you can see, as you'll see today, Robot HA is easy to use and understand. It's a pretty straightforward product. That's probably the most common thing we hear from customers coming over from other products is that it is an easy to understand product. Automation, it has built-in self-healing. It will monitor itself and send you emails if something is behind or out of sync. It integrates into our Halcyon and robot solutions. So we can, for customers or business partners that are using those solutions, we can use those to monitor it. Customer support and services team is across the world. We're reliable and knowledgeable. Having Carlos with us today is just another example of our global reach that we have around the globe. And then our services team can help with roll swaps. They can help you with training on the product. They will help you with implementation. So why are we so affordable? Okay, well, first of all, we are instance based. We are going to charge you based on the size of the partition that we're running in. We don't charge for lateral hardware changes. So if you're moved from one processor to one processor and you're on a new serial number or whatever, there's not going to be any hardware changes. Our pricing is very competitive. We feel out of the gate, we have a very competitive pricing strategy comparison to other products. Some other intangibles is that we want you to be using the product. We coach you through all the things that are important about HA. We talk about RTO, RPO, capacity backup units. I'm surprised the number of customers that don't know about CBUs because their hardware salespeople aren't telling them about it. But we can save you money there too. So a lot of the conversations I have with customers is just everything about high availability in the IBMI space. And then journaling. We did a nice webinar on journaling a while ago. You can just go to the Fortra website, type in journaling, and we'll explain how apply journal works, remove journal changes work, local and remote journals, all those types of things. And then again, our services team is experienced. And so you're getting people that can help you out and get you rolling as soon as possible. And the product, again, is easy to understand and navigate. That's worth money too. You don't spend a lot of time waiting on things from customers. Well, Carlos, over to you to talk about what makes us easy to use.
Thank you. Nice introduction. Thank you, Tom. Okay, what makes you easy to use? This product really is, has some very nice features. The first one is with the RBO command, you can show the main menu of the product. Then all robot products you can show all robot products installed on the system from the same place. It has the traditional Fortra menu. It's very easy to understand. We can see this in a moment. Another good, nice feature of Robot HA is that we focus on one library, one journal, and one directory with one journal to make things easy, but even we can connect one journal to more than one library or directory, or even to more one library. We can divide in some journals in case for performance reasons. It's very flexible or product, but the main goal is to be easy to install. And obviously has a self-healing internal process that job is running constantly, checking that everything is in place. If something is wrong, then automatically fixes this. If it's not possible to fix, then sends an email. Next one, please. Yes, This is the main menu of the product. As you can see, number 25 is Robot HA. If you see the number in the front of the name of the product, then the product is installed on the system. Then if you use option 25, the green screen shows us the main menu of the product. There are 7 options. The most important is the first one, synchronization attributes, we can see in one moment, but there are other options like control menu, setup menu. With control menu, we can start and stop synchronization of the libraries, for all libraries. With setup menu, you use only first time when you install the product to set up the remote box and something like this. Reports menu and history menu is obviously for reporting and historical synchronization jobs. Audit is a job that we run at intervals, 1 hour, 15 minutes, 4 hours, that checks everything, not only the synchronization, but system values and a lot of other things to be sure that everything is in place in case if a disaster arises, then you can do a role swap very, very fast. Next one. Then with option 1, we can see the current configuration in this example. As you can see, there is the library name in the first column, the server, the remote server. Important to note that you can, if you want, you can transfer or replicate the same library to more than one system. Okay, in this case, it's only to one system, name is backup, and even you can change the library name in the remote box. In this case, is the name library, and in this case, as you can see, the Nolting 4 is a library that has 4 different journals, and for optimization reasons, we have defined it. Some includes in Nolting 4 A files, B files, and other files using different journals for super optimization reasons. So you can do this if it's necessary in your installation. Okay. There are last synchronization date and time to check that everything is in place. And if error arises, then you can see the column of last error type to check what happens and fix quickly. Next slide, please. Okay. If you use option 2 on already defined library, or if you press F6, obviously you can check this screen to change the setup of this definition of one library. In this case, we want to synchronize non-journaled objects every 2 minutes. This is checked every 2 minutes. Then if you change a program, a display file, or something, some other object that cannot be journalized, this is checked and move it, transfer it to the remote box in 2 minutes and restore it immediately. But remember that Robot HA uses journaling and remote journal technology. Then the most important data of companies, this is the records on the physical files, are translated or replicated immediately in milliseconds, in nanoseconds, to the other box. Okay. Next one, please. Okay. If on the main menu you press F11, you can see that not only libraries can be replicated, but IFS directories can be replicated, as you can see here. And you can define the same journal or different journal for optimization reasons. In this case, this screen shows different journals for different directories. It's up to you to define the journal you want to use in the remote box. Robot HA by default creates the journal with the first 10 letters of the directory, adding a letter at the beginning to tell that is for IFS, okay, as you can see here. And in this screen, if you press F11 again, you can see that not even the directories and the libraries files can be replicated, but authorization lists, configuration, private authorities, and user profiles can be replicated at intervals to be sure that everything is in place. Authorization list, private authorities, and a user profile is interesting because if you change authorization list or if you create or modify a user profile, it's important to replicate this in the other box. And configuration is the start CFG is the definition you need to define on robot HA in order to save things like triggers, constraints, system values, and a lot of other things that needs to be applied to the remote box only when you do a role swap. Okay, then F11. Sorry, enter. Polling question, up to you, Tom.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I had my slide out of order there. I'll come back and ask the polling question here shortly. But let's do the live demo first, and then we'll come back.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but we'll blame it on me. All right, so I have two screens up here. I have my production system called Wisdom and my backup system called Academy. As Carlos said earlier, I could have multiple targets. I don't have to have just a single target, but probably the most common thing in the industry is I have a source system and I have a target system. We call them production and backup. If I type in RBO, for those of you who are familiar with the robot product line, you'll see option 25 as we talked about on the menu system. And option 25 will be the same option on both the source and the target. Production and backup, we'll see here. We'll see the release level of our software. We do primarily support 7.1s through 7.5 these days with our product. The most current versions are compiled down to 7.2, of course, and we have older versions for 7.1. But nonetheless, option 1 is where we're going to spend the time here. I'm just going to show you how easy it is. Now notice we have rules. They're running. The product is active. I can come in here, use a standard F6 to add a new library. And first of all, what I like to do is show you that I'm adding a library that doesn't exist on my target. So work live HA demo, we'll see there's no HA demo 2. So I'm going to add a library that has that. My 2 server, if I know the name of it, which is just backup, I can type it in there. The 2 library can be different. The intervals can be different on how often we want to look for new objects, not for data changes. Data changes, as Carlos points out, go through journaling. By default, we default to our journal lib and a remote journal lib. You can use your own journals. Just again, from a support perspective, it's a lot easier. You just let us do it. We can do before and after images if you want, which a lot of times with like SQL tables, that's required. So forth. We also can include certain objects or exclude certain objects by object types if you want, if you need to omit some things. At that point, I can hit enter. And if I do a work lib again here, you'll see my library is still not there. And that's because all we've done so far is we've created the journaling rule. All right, and I'll show you what I mean by that. If I take option 12 here, I can work with the journal. I can see the local journal, and hidden in here is F16. This is the remote journal. And then if I do an F12 out of here and I do F19, we'll see that right now nothing's being journaled, okay? And that's because we haven't sent the library. Now we can save a library to tape and send it over that way, or if the library is small enough and the communication lines are great, we can just take option 8 and we'll save it to batch and we'll run it over there. We press F9. We're actually saving this library right now to a save file, and we're sending it over there. Fairly small library, so it shouldn't take too long. It just got there. We see that. Now I want to just show you back on the source side. If I press F5, it'll say it's in sync. And the other thing that's unique is if I press option 12 here, we will see with F19, we'll see now we have files that are being journaled. And so immediately things are ready to go. If I do F21 here and come in and I use the Fortra tool called Easy View, kind of like DFU or DBU if you use any of those products, we can come in here and I can change data. So let me do that. I'll just change Carlos, sorry, gonna get rid of your name, change this to Johnny. All right, and now because data's starting to change, it's already flowing. It was that simple. We added a new library and it's ready to go. I'll call myself Thomas now instead of just Tom. and now that's gone through. So you can see database files being changed, going through. It's very simple. If I come in here and do option 10 on this library, you can see the journal transactions in here as things are being set up. Source, we can even journal source physical files. Here's my 2 updates I did of my data in the journal receiver. So very easy to get access to what's happening on the system. If I come back in here, take an option 5 and look at the rule, I'll see the name of the journal, and I will see, let's see, where's our journal sequence? Should be in here too somewhere. The last sequence processed is there because it's brand new. You know, all that information is stored right in at your fingertips within the product. Now, F11, I could go in and easily add IFS to this. And again, IFS is real time. You add a document, you delete a document, you change a document, whatever, it's going to be replicated. We can group libraries together if need be. I think I'm finding less and less customers that really need to do that. And this is an area where some of the older implementations, people haven't touched them for years and years. And it's so confusing. They have no idea what's set up in their system anymore from a replication standpoint. It's really hard to untangle. So one journal, one library, or one library, one journal, a lot easier for you to understand for most people. Then the other thing is the configuration objects. You'll see we're replicating authorization lists, configuration information. We store the configuration information in another library over on the target side. If I were to display that live, that's what we're going to see in here, a bunch of save files and physical files. This information is used when we do a role swap. So when we do a role swap, we have all that configuration information in place, and we can, again, do our role swap. And user profiles are in here. Private authorities are replicated. So very good. All right, I think that that's enough for our demo, kind of keeping things short today and going back, and I will just open up our polling question and ask a simple question. How would you like us to follow up with you? You can select all that apply, I guess, with this one too. You just want to have a high availability discussion in general. I do a lot of that. I help educate managers, systems administrators, developers on high availability and all their different options. Carlos does the same in Europe. I can do a Robot HA demo for a team, for a group of you. Since we know from our study, security is always on everybody's mind, we do offer up the free security scan if you want. We also have health checks that we do with a lot of our products for customers. So if you have something installed with PowerTech or SQL or Robot or Halcyon, we'll take a look at it and help you get more out of the software. We like you to be using our software when you own it. I mean, it only makes sense. You bought it for a reason. And then some people out there would like some pricing on Robot HA. Choose that, and we'll help you out there. We do need to ask you a few questions on that, but nonetheless, we can help you out with those ticket items. So let's see. Do we have any? All right, that's probably long enough. So I'm going to close that polling question and move on to the last polling slide here, or last slide. So hopefully in this short 30 minutes, you've seen that Robot HA, or heard that Robot HA is affordable. We'll provide that with the pricing, but certainly you saw easy to implement, easy to maintain. You just need to know the libraries and the IFS directories that you want to replicate, and our services team will help you through that. Part of the other thing I see, Carlos, in the industry is that there's a lot of customers with a lot of old libraries on their system, or things that just need to be cleaned up. I even still run into customers that are doing, they're doing development and production on the same partition, and you shouldn't be doing that these days anymore.
You're right.
Yeah. So also remind you, from the Fortra company, we help people with backup and recovery in HA. We work on BRMS, we work on RDI, we work on Power HA, and then we also work on Robot Save and Robot HA. So we do a lot of discussions around that. Document management, obviously we help people with scanning documents, forms overlays, cybersecurity. monitoring IBMI, business intelligence with SQL and Showcase. We help people size their next systems. We help people with automation. And now we're even helping customers move to the cloud. With Robot HA as a catalyst for that, we can help you move to the cloud if you want, with the Fortra for the cloud offering that we now have. So with that, just open it up for questions here in this final couple minutes that we have left with you. I'm showing right at the bottom of the hour here. We do have a question in here from Mark Carlos, and he's wondering if we can do before and after images.
Yes, by default we can define, by default the robot HA defines I think after image, but you can define for the library to replicate with both, with the before and after image, just to, for reasons like commitment control and something like this, you can define this without any problem. It's very easy to define this, yes.
Mm-hmm. Very good, very good. The other question we have is, do we have a POC implemented against Quick EDD and Mimics? I think probably the real question there from Samvar is, have you converted a customer from Quick EDD and Mimics? And the answer would be yes in both cases. We certainly have done that. And iTerra and Maxava and iCluster, we've converted from all the various other vendors that are out there for different reasons too. It's not all for the same reason. But yes, absolutely, we can help out. Mimics, probably the most common theme there, is just very complicated. A lot of customers don't understand it because it has so many features. It's almost hard for them to manage. Quick EDD, I think one of the biggest issues there is it's no longer owned by traders, and it's owned by the same company, and with Mimics, and it becomes an issue with support. And long term, it doesn't use standard remote journaling either, so that's a long-term issue for people too.
Yeah.
And then let's see, we have another question from Robert here. How much trouble do you have with contention between your product replicating a file to the backup site and production program trying to use that file and blowing up with file and use errors? I think initially, Robert, when you first set the product up, we do have to get one good save of the objects and save them and send them to the target. That would be really the only time we should have any conflicts, because after that, we're using built-in local and remote journaling, and local and remote journaling for data changes should not be causing locks on production data. So, the data itself is being replicated by but the first time we, see an object, we do have to have the ability to save it. If we can't ever save it, then it's going to be, you're going to have a lock on that file. So you may be experiencing some of that today with your current solution. I'd love to chat with you a little more about what you're seeing there. But, once it's been saved, sent to the target system, we're using journaling. So it shouldn't be a problem after that. Okay. All right. With that said, we don't have any time for any more questions, but if you certainly have any questions, you see my email here and Carlos's on the last slide. We want to thank you for joining us today. Carlos, excellent job on helping out today. You enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you very much, Tom. Glad to be with you here explaining the nice features that Robot HA has. Yes, thank you.
Excellent. All right. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.